Lando Norris just exposed the exact reason why Oscar Piastri has been losing ground, and it's not about talent. It's about what McLaren changed under the surface. Piastri, once the lead McLaren driver, is now trailing Norris by a single point, not because he's driving worse, but because the car no longer fits his style. Norris admitted the upgrades now suit him perfectly. And that silent shift has left Piastri fighting against a car that punishes precision, his greatest strength. We're unpacking what Norris revealed, how it's affecting Oscar lap by lap, and why this could become the defining challenge of his F1 rise. Lando Norris just said it on the record. And it confirmed what many suspected but few dared to say aloud. There's a deeper reason behind Oscar Piastri's dramatic drop in performance. One that goes beyond lap times. One that may explain everything we've seen in the last 6 races. From dominating the midseason to being overtaken in the standings by just 1 point, Piastri's title dream is slipping away. Sprint qualifying in Brazil exposed more than just a pace deficit. It revealed a technical mismatch. One that Norris himself says favors his driving style, not Oscar's. And here's the twist, it's not just about the setup. It's about the entire evolution of the MCL 39. The upgrades, the circuits, the grip levels, all unintentionally steering the car into a window where Oscar's style is punished and Lando's thrives. Piastri didn't lose speed. The car moved away from him. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. But with 4 races to go and McLaren doubling down on its current direction, Piastri is now in survival mode. The question isn't whether he can match Norris, it's whether he can reinvent himself in time to take the fight to Abu Dhabi. The data from sprint qualifying in Brazil did not lie, and Lando Norris confirmed it. After weeks of speculation, Norris admitted that McLaren's car development in the second half of 2025 has shifted in a direction that suits his own style far more than Oscar Piastri's. And when a teammate is the one saying it, you know the effect is real. For Oscar, it wasn't just a bad session, it was the confirmation of a trend that's been building since the summer upgrades. McLaren's updates brought more front-end grip and faster rotation mid-corner. That's ideal for Norris, who thrives on pitching the car into turns and managing the oversteer with natural reflexes. His laps look messy from the outside, twitchy, aggressive, but they extract time in areas where the current MCL 39 now comes alive. That's how he's been gaining those crucial tenths in the second sector at Interlagos. Not with more talent, but with a car finally built around his natural instinct. Oscar Piastri, on the other hand, built his success on control. Clean steering input, balanced entry, high-speed discipline. The kind of style that made him unbeatable earlier in the season, when the car was more neutral and demanded less rear rotation. But now, the very thing that made Piastri a threat is being neutralized by a car that no longer plays to his strengths. His inputs aren't wrong, they're just no longer compatible with what the car rewards. During sprint qualifying, Piastri lost over 2 tenths to Norris in turns 6 through 11, the medium speed section that requires sharp front-end rotation and confident throttle application mid-slide. Oscar wasn't offline. He wasn't slow on purpose. The car simply didn't respond the way it used to. And Norris all but said it, "The upgrades really allowed me to get the rotation I've been missing. It suits me now." That one sentence spoke volumes. For Oscar, the realization is brutal. This is not about effort. Not about preparation. It's a clash between evolution and identity. The car has changed. His style hasn't. And with limited track time and sprint weekends, there's no room to experiment. He's being forced to rewire years of instinct in the middle of a championship battle while his teammate continues to rise. That's not fair. That's Formula One at its most unforgiving. But here's what separates Oscar from others. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't blame. He adapts. He studies every sector, every data overlay, every radio message. He's not just learning to drive differently, he's learning how to fight when the ground beneath him keeps shifting. And if he cracks this code in time, the final 4 races could tell a very different story. The heart of Oscar Piastri's struggle is not emotional. It's mechanical. When McLaren brought its major aerodynamic package ahead of the Asian triple header, the philosophy of the MCL 39 changed. The new floor, combined with a reworked front wing and revised rake angle, unlocked greater downforce, but only when the car was loaded aggressively on corner entry. That instantly shifted the car's sweet spot into a zone that rewards rotation-first driving. And that's where the balance started tipping. For Norris, this shift was a blessing. His style naturally activates that window. He's aggressive on turn-in, rotates the car before apex, and uses the throttle to stabilize the rear. That high-energy approach suits the new aero profile. It's violent, but effective. And suddenly, the traits that used to make his style unpredictable became an advantage. The car listens to him now, it wants to be thrown in. Piastri's approach is different. He brakes later, turns in smoother, and prefers to keep the rear settled until traction is guaranteed. It's not conservative, it's refined. Earlier in the season, this gave him a tire advantage and better control over race stints. But now, that same precision is causing the car to under-rotate. Instead of gripping, it's hesitating. He has to wait. And in modern F1, waiting means losing. The engineers know this. Telemetry shows Piastri is still faster on straights, still cleaner under braking. But in the lateral phases, especially medium-speed sweeps like Interlagos turn 8, the car demands more rotation energy than Oscar's muscle memory delivers. He's not wrong. The car just isn't responding to his inputs anymore. It's responding to Norris's. That's a structural issue, not a strategic one. And because McLaren has found performance with this new spec, they can't afford to reverse it. The constructors' standings are too close. The gains are real. And so, unintentionally, one of their drivers is now learning to drive a car that no longer feels like his. That's the cruel reality of team development. What's faster for the car may not be better for both drivers. And Piastri is carrying that weight. But Oscar is not folding. What he's doing now is far more difficult than pure speed. He's trying to relearn the car in real time. No simulator can replicate this level of feel. No engineer can coach instinct. He's walking the tightrope between adaptation and identity, and doing it in front of a global audience, with pressure mounting. That's not a technical problem. That's a test of character. The hardest part for Oscar Piastri right now is not the stopwatch. It's the silence. The kind of silence that comes when performance dips and the spotlight quietly shifts to the other side of the garage. That's where Norris lives now, with momentum, with media buzz, with the engineers rallying behind setups that keep working. Meanwhile, Piastri is in the quieter corner. Still fast, still sharp, but no longer the priority. And he knows it. When Norris publicly acknowledged that the car suits him better now, it wasn't a dig. It was a truth. But truths in Formula One carry weight. Within McLaren, those words land in meetings. They ripple through technical decisions. They affect how a team prepares, whose data is referenced first, whose feedback gets baked into the next upgrade. In a battle this tight, perception becomes leverage. And Piastri is feeling that shift in real time. This creates a new kind of pressure. Not to outperform Norris, but to keep pace while fighting on unfamiliar ground. To prove that his early season form wasn't a fluke. That he can evolve when the car does not obey him. And that pressure is heavier when your teammate is thriving. When the garage is smiling more on one side. When the race engineers start tweaking in a direction you didn't ask for. But Oscar isn't here for comfort. He didn't rise through the junior ranks to be protected. He came to fight. And now, with 4 races left, his challenge is clear: survive this technical mismatch, adapt faster than ever before, and reclaim his position not just in the points but in the team's vision of the future. Because long-term, this isn't just about 2025. It's about who leads McLaren into the next era. The road ahead won't give him a break. Qatar, Vegas, Abu Dhabi, each circuit asks something different of the car and of the driver. But that might be exactly what Oscar needs. Variability. Chaos. Conditions that disrupt the norm and give him space to flip the narrative. Because if he can land one big result, if he can beat Norris clean at a track where the car shouldn't let him, the story shifts again. Fast. So when you hear Norris talk about the setup suiting him, listen carefully, because that's not an excuse for Piastri. That's motivation. This isn't the fall of a contender. It's the pressure chamber that could forge a future champion. One who's being asked to rewire his strengths mid-season, with the whole world watching. And if Oscar Piastri gets through this storm, he'll come out sharper, stronger, and more dangerous than ever before.